Hello and welcome. On today's episode, I want to share with you a simple but powerful thing that you can do with your mind and your energy to just help you speed up healing or relieve some stress or negativity and even create more positive feelings in your life. And it's this. And by the way, I have to say, it's actually really divine timing because if you recall on last week's episode, on our IQ episode, we were talking about the importance of optimism. And even medical research has shown that people who are optimistic can actually live 15% longer. And optimism can help speed up healing in the body and speed up cell proliferation. And to give you a quick idea, if you're not familiar with cell proliferation, it's like cells growing and dividing. A simple way to think about it is like dish soap. If you pour water on dish soap, what happens? The bubbles up. The bubbles grow and divide, right? It proliferates. And so cell proliferation is like healing, if you will. But optimism can help optimize healing in the body. Even medical research shows that even after surgery, somebody can have faster healing if they're optimistic. But if they're in a negative emotional state, they have a much higher rate of rehospitalization and a lot slower healing. And so on so many levels, optimism can help reduce heart disease. I mean, there's just so much research around it. And so on a simple note, part of the reason I'm bringing this up is because of last week's IQ episode, because we talked about the power of optimism. But another reason that I'm bringing it up is because it's kind of also divine timing, is that one thing that I did on my own injury when I was injured. Now, if you think about it for a moment, there I was, injured, wheelchair, walker, cane, in excruciating pain. And doctors telling me there was nothing else they could do for me. I was getting nerve ablations, infusions, injections, medication every day. I mean, I was an absolute mess in extreme pain for years. And so it's hard to be optimistic. I wasn't really optimistic at all. I was trying to be initially, but you lose that, and it just becomes frustrating and not sleeping and everything else. And so what I started doing is this simple thing, as I thought, what was something that I was optimistic about? And one thing that made me feel a sense of optimism, a sense of feeling like I could look forward to something, was a silly but sweet, ridiculous and playful memory from childhood regarding Christmas. And basically at Christmas night, it was so cute on Christmas Eve. Me and my siblings, there's 5 of us, original siblings. I've added family now, but I have 4 biological. There was 5 of us growing up. And so around Christmas time when we were young, what we would do is we'd all sleep in the same bedroom, and we'd make like tents out of blankets where it's coming from the bookshelf. There's a blanket overhead. It was all ridiculous. So we could all sleep together, like sleep in our, own sleeping bags and be up watching Christmas movies before, and, which was perfect for my parents while Santa Claus was coming. They were, doing everything that they did with the tree and all of that. And so, but anyway, so my point is there was that anticipation, there was the connection, there was anticipation for the next day when, we were going to wake up and there was going to be Christmas morning and family was going to be there and friends. Like, it just was that glow of Christmas and that excitement. And so during my injury, I started thinking about exactly that. Like, before I would go to bed, I started recalling those feelings of thinking about before Christmas as a child when we'd wake up and it was Christmas morning, and it was going to be fun and playfulness and just sweetness and family and friends and connection and just all of the things. And that was one way that I started remembering what it felt like to reconnect with feelings of being excited about life again. Now, of course, fast forward, now that I've healed and all of these things, of course, I have this feeling of excitement towards life now. I love life. I would love for days to be even longer. And I love life. But at that time, I didn't love life. And part of the reason I'm bringing that up is because you may not be where I was, where you're hating life and frustrated and fearful. And there was periods of time where I really didn't want to live anymore, which, thank God that's gone. But that was there. And so getting myself to fall back in love with life was something I consciously did. Now, all of the time I'll see people who, as they're aging or whatnot, they go, oh, I've done that, or, oh, Christmas is for the kids, or, it's, so they start to fall out of love with life in general. And maybe it's due to an issue, but like a health issue or whatnot, or a trauma or a hardship. And, we go through a period of time where we get burnt out with life. And I would say, just like in a relationship where we want to continue to fall in love with a person, to create loving experiences, to enjoy, also with life, we want to continue to fall in love with life. And sometimes if we're not navigating that intentionally, we could lose our love for life. And especially I see a lot of people do that, where they lose their love for life. Even sometimes people get into spirituality and then they think, oh, well, energy or universe or universal energy is so much more important than the planet and earth and all of this 3D world, that they also fall out of love with life. And so that's kind of my point, is that, the new year is coming, also with healing, also with just the energy you bring towards life. Life also brings towards you. So that was one thing I told myself over and over when I was going through my injury. I said, you know what? If life is going to reflect to me how I feel about life, I better change it. Meaning that, if I love life at a level 2, then life is going to love me back at a level 2. And at that time, I did not like life. I thought, gosh, if life is going to reflect to me how I feel about life, I better change. So I thought, if I want life to show me a 10, I better love life at a level 10. That better be my energy towards it. And so this was just one of the simple things that I started doing. And I say simple because it was simple, and yet it was really bringing it in and being willing to follow through to start embracing that change. But it was pivotal because I started falling in love with life. And so that's the simple thing that I wanted to share with you today, is just that feeling of reminding you to fall in love with life. And not only that, but how you feel about something is your life. So question for you, how do you feel about the holidays? How do you feel about next year? How do you feel about today? How do you feel about life? How do you feel about your future? Because a lot of times people will just take that as what it is. But remember, we're in control. And not only that, but how we feel about these things can affect our health. If we're feeling fearful towards life, that can affect, or angry or resentful or optimism. All of these things can affect our health, our happiness, our life. And not only that, but the outcome, how it goes. Another way to put it is like this, is if we say, if somebody expects, if, you get what you expect, so to speak. If you expect to fail, likely you'll take the action to do that. If you expect hardship and problems, likely at a subconscious level, that's what can tend to unfold. You expect things to go great. You expect people to be mean. What do you expect? And what is that feeling? Beyond just expectation, what is the feeling? So what is that feeling? And making sure that you do expect, but then fully feel that feeling of optimism. All right, so that's today's quick IQ episode, is exactly that, is how do you feel, and can you create more and more of these feelings of love towards life, and love towards the holidays, and love towards family, and love towards your future, and love towards the coming year, and bringing these feelings in and amplifying them. Remember that how we feel really does shape our lives more than we realize. All the time you hear me use the unfortunate example of the woman with the abusive father who leaves him and finds the abusive boyfriend, boss, spouse, etc., etc. Those patterns continue. And that pattern can continue, but of course, consciously, this woman, we can have so much compassion. She's saying something like, I just want a man who's loving, who's sweet, who's wonderful. And yet those subconscious patterns play out. And so it's not just what we consciously want, but really what's in our nervous system and what we're feeling at a deeper level. So go deep. And I want to invite you to just amplify this and really make sure it's in your energy very, very strong and feeling that. So that's today's quick IQ episode, and I wish you and your family most wonderful, wonderful holiday, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. And as always, if I ask you to please do hit the share button on this episode, share it with somebody you love, somebody you care about, or somebody you don't even know, because the more that every single person is happy and healthy and loving and loved and empowered, the better this world is for all of us. And so please do hit the share button, and please do have a most wonderful, amazing rest of your day.